Lender in the house. It is Becky Currie. Only one quick, short session here, and there's so many things to talk about. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have to leave about a quarter till. I've got to be in the Capitol by 9, but thank you for having me.
You are welcome. All right, well, then it's all yours. You tell me exactly what is first and foremost on your concern list and what you want to let the people know.
Well, one reason that I have to be back at the Capitol this morning is I had a bill held on a motion, and it'll need to be released this morning, so I need to be there. But as you know, the city of Jackson has dumped a lot of wastewater into the Pearl River. And between April and June of last year, it was about 50 million gallons of solid waste. And it's just been going on, and I understand the EPA is involved in DEQ, but they have not been fined for that since 2012. And I've written a bill that every time they do it, they'll be fined $1 million, because I'm a big believer in if you don't do anything about it, they'll just keep doing it. And our way of life down the Pearl, I have Monticello, and people can't swim, you can't fish, you can't canoe, you can't do any water activities that were in the Pearl that we did for years. Yeah. And so it's just really high on my list that they get this solved. And it's 2023. You know, we've been talking about this for a lot of years. We've been talking about water, and I'm bringing the light on. They have as much of a sewer problem as a water problem.
That's 50 million in what length of time?
From April to June, 50 million gallons.
50 million gallons of, is that sewer or just tainted water, or what exactly are we talking about?
Raw sewage.
Raw sewage goes into that.
On the banks of the Pearl River,
amazing.
There's a little toilet paper hanging from little branches. And it stinks, okay? It's got to stop. So that's the bill that I'm...
Here's the other part of that is so... That's so bad, because if the fines happen, $1 million in the coffers, the mayor doesn't pay that.
I know.
A large portion of the people who are not paying taxes, and they're living on the people who are paying taxes. So actually, all of that hardship goes on the people who are paying the taxes, and they're probably the ones who want it fixed more than anybody else.
Exactly. But I will say this, that I did not put the money to go into the coffers of EPA or DEQ. It's going to go to the affected cities and counties so they can help with cleanup.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll be honest, Paul, this is a way to say, you got to stop. This has got to stop, and I don't know any other way to do it. I can write law.
Well, that also should exacerbate your frustration on understanding the water situation there, understanding there are finite ways to fix that, and when you bring them up, it always goes back to racism.
Well, you know, the other night we stayed late and being told that we forgot to wear our white sheets and how racist we are, you know, it's very hurtful. It's very hurtful.
Let me ask you this. Did you talk with any members of your cohorts in the House from the Black Caucus after that? And because I believe in building a coalition, but then again, some things are possible, some things are not. But did you have a conversation with any of them?
I'm very good friends with a lot of them. Believe it or not, we talk. We're friends. We communicate. We help each other with legislation. You know, that was just a moment that they needed to have. To be honest, that's how I feel.
Well, I love to death Robert Johnson, who's from Natchez, but he was almost like he was living in Jackson on this particular thing, and where we were encroaching on his city.
That's
but
right.
As far as the courts are concerned, and as far as the water situation, you have a lot of people within the confines of the city of Jackson. They're tired of it, regardless of their ethnicity or political agenda.
Well, Paul, they also need to remember that we all live here 3 months out of the year. I keep an apartment here year-round to do my work on other committees. So I technically have a say in this as well. I'm sick of the water situation.
Yeah. Let me ask you real quickly as far as the situation, and you are a nurse in the real world. Anything happening, any bills alive on that one that affect that industry and that occupation?
Not on my side.
Not on your side. How about the hospital situation? You want to address that one quickly?
Well, we're in trouble. We're in big trouble, and it's going to be very sad when your local hospital closes. And a lot of people love their local hospital. I love mine in Brookhaven, and it's also a way if something very bad happens to you, heart attack, stroke, car wreck, that you can be stabilized and then sent to the trauma center or to have a heart surgery somewhere. But if that hospital is not there, you will die. And the flip side of that, no industry will come to your area without that hospital there.
King's Daughters in Brookhaven, we've been there many times. I've had the opportunity for so many times to be there and do a broadcast. They're just they're the exception to the rule, though. I mean, that is a first-class hospital doing a lot of services that are not even in larger communities. And how is that?
Well, because they have community support. And, we don't run to Jackson for our minor things like colonoscopies and.
But I mean, your staff too, though. I mean, you got some heck of a people on the staff there. Been there for a long time.
Can't say enough about them. We are blessed. We have great doctors and great staff. Nurses are kind when you walk in, but that starts at the administration level and what they expect. And we have a new CEO there, Scott Christensen. Alvin Hoover retired, but
is Alvin fishing now finally, or what?
Yes, and I text him occasionally, and he said, "I'm not keeping up anymore, Becky."
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? So that means he's off the chart now. So he's not on the treadmill anymore. All right. Any final things that you want to mention here that you guys will be taking up today?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I had a bill on foreign land.
Oh, yes. Got to ask you about that.
That's right.
Because you mentioned something at the microphone on the floor. You said if people knew exactly what was going on. All right, share that with us.
Okay, so I wrote a bill because in listening to all the news, China is going around buying a lot of farmland and a lot of other things in different states. So I just wrote a bill saying no agriculture land could be sold to a foreign country, okay? And man, did the information come out of the woodwork to me from people all over the state. So in 1894, they wrote a law that says no foreign entity could buy land. Well, come to find out, nobody has followed the law, and hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland have been sold. The Netherlands have about 300,000 acres, and they bought it for their retirement system, and their retirement system's doing fine. Ours is not doing great, and yet we sold land to them, and it was against the law. So many things have come to light. I sent you an email. We have, and Communist China is here. It's in Mississippi. One of the largest chicken companies, one of the largest grain companies have now been owned by Communist China. That information will be coming out, and we have a mess on our hands.
Yeah. And they already own our pork supply,
and they already own our. That's
yeah.
right. So when they send all of our food and grain to China, we're going to be hungry.
Is the Netherlands the number one landowner at 300,000 acres in Mississippi?
They're the number one. Canada is number two.
Canada's number two, and China is
coming on up there.
Are they?
Yes.
That is absolutely amazing. Is any of this being used for solar farms or just investment and it's fallow, or are they leasing it out?
Well, the Netherlands is working it and
right?
doing well. Doing very well. But we're having a hearing this summer, and I hope everybody will be there to listen. You're going to be amazed.
Wonder what kind of tractors they use on their farms.
Yeah, I don't know.
Becky, it's always a pleasure. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Be careful in going back real quick.